Hello friends, welcome to another book review with John Henry. Today we're going to discuss The Smith of Wootton Major by J.R.R. Tolkien, or Smith of Wootton Major. So this is one of Tolkien's smaller works, certainly lesser known compared to his popular Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings. I read it when I was a teenager. It was on my dad's shelf and we had this hardcover, thin book and had pictures. I'm like, oh, I could read that. I wasn't ready for The Lord of the Rings yet to read it. And I was just really happy with two main things, which was that at that time, which is why I remembered recently, oh, I like that. And I reordered it so I can read it again. Because we don't have that copy from back in the day. Anyway, the two things that really stood out were they mentioned this cake, this like great cake that the master cook of the village spends an enormous amount of time preparing with his apprentice. And all sorts of wonderful things go into this recipe. And I was a lover of sweets back then, as I still am. And I just liked that. I want to hear more about the cake. I want a whole book about the cake, basically. They don't talk about it that much, as I discovered when I reread it, but it is a focal point of the story. This great cake is made by the master cook every 24 years for this special feast, the only feast in the winter, and only 24 children are invited. And it kind of has to do mostly with your age. Yeah, anyway, so this is like, there's a great cake. And then there should be a prize for everyone, you know. But anyway, so the other thing that I really was taken by at the time was that there was no fighting, which I was really, really looking for books and movies and TV that were not the typical good versus evil battle thing. Why does it always have to happen? And it didn't. Zero fighting in this. In the Smith of Wootton Major. So nice. So it's a fairy tale and about this small village, Wootton Major, as opposed to Wootton Minor, which is even smaller. Not that Wootton Major is big. And it's kind of, I guess, it takes place in Old England, you guess, but maybe it's not a real place. And then somehow this guy gets the ability to visit the fairy kingdom. And he goes to the fairy kingdom, he goes on these long adventures, and comes back, and has to do with he's a smith of Wootton Major. He makes whatever smiths do, I think metalwork, making tools, things like that. Then his son takes over, and there's a lot of this wandering off into the forest for days, and he's visiting fairy, comes back, and it's just like this kind of out of time type of story. Timeless, maybe. But you feel like it's a real place and real characters. And then mostly humanity is out of touch with the reality of the fairy kingdom. It's called Fairy, F-A-E-R-Y. That's just the name of the land. That you have to basically have special permission to enter, which this one guy has, which is connected to the Great Cake. There's a couple like twists and turns that make it worth a second read, I would say. I only read it once. I read bits and pieces again just to do the review. I didn't read it in one shot, you know, over probably a couple weeks because I had multiple books going on. But yeah, it's light. It's one of the lighter, more enjoyable fairy tales that's not like the old school fairy tales from back in the day, or sort of a modern fairy tale, I guess. I recommend it, certainly if you can access it. 59 pages. It's written in a way that I guess fairy tales can be. It's definitely Tolkien-like in the sense that sometimes Tolkien does in his works this like broad span of time. So this definitely covers, that one story covers maybe 80, 100 years. I don't know, a long time. Maybe not that. Yeah, maybe that. At least 60 something years. So he'll like say something, there'll be a scene, then next thing he's just cutting straight to many years have passed and this 24-year festival happened, and then it happened again. You're like, whoa, wait, where are we now? You know, so next generation, and the kid was a boy, now he's a dad, and so it does cover spans of time, and it's in a way that's I know, unapologetic. It's just that's the way he writes. I remember the Silmarillion was like that, just huge spans of time and without apology. This is just how he writes, because I guess he studied a lot about mythology, and I'm sure about fairy tales and stuff. So a lot of that stuff was written in this kind of very amorphous timelines, you know, where things blend over eons, and so skipping generations is no big deal in his narrative. Anyway, I enjoy it. It's a light read. Highly recommend it. If you're a Tolkien fan, you haven't read it, go for it. If you're not a Tolkien fan, you just want a kind of lighthearted, no fighting, fun fairy tale, it's worth it. So I'll get back to you with From Gals of Ham whenever I finish that one. And until next time, keep reading, be well.